What's up, y'all? It's Pastor Patina Moffett. I wanted to, you know how you do something and you think that is repost worthy or reshare worthy? Well, that's how I felt about the interview that me and Maxwell did on Mother's Day. It really blessed the house. So many mothers that were in the house said it blessed them. Online said blessed them. So I was like, you know what? That 20-minute video is repost worthy. So I thought, why not do it tonight? So let's get into it. This is my son, my boy, the only child I've had by natural. Thank you, Lord. And so I asked him today, can he get a microphone?
Mic check. Good morning.
So I asked him today, I was like, Maxwell, okay, so this week was his birthday, and we hung out a lot this week. And we talked a whole lot this week, too. And it's very, I mean, can I get a handkerchief, baby? Um, with him turning 22, whoop, whoop, 22. Whenever we get time with our kids as they grow older, it's treasured because Maxwell now I be like, well, can you schedule me in? Can you write me in? Because he just be so busy. But this week I was able to spend Tuesday, Wednesday, and even last night with him and hung out with him a little bit. And so I wanted him to talk. I wanted us to talk because me and him we were having a series. Do you want to talk about the last year or so in your life?
The last year of my life it's just been challenging and growing. It's kind of like a give and take, but also take what come with the game. So with that being said, it's just um, really talking to God and trying to find out where where is He at in my life, and me wanting to build a relationship with my mom a little bit stronger because I got into a little things where I got into some trouble, and I feel like me and my mom relationship it kind of wasn't where it was because of the things that happened. But I've been growing and continuously to grow um, like a vine, and I'm proud that me and my mom have our relationship is getting closer and closer, and it's growing. Um, Cause I ain't gonna lie, I thought we was gonna lose it. Man, for real, I thought we was gonna lose it with the last boat rock. For real, I thought we was gonna lose it. But I just wanna, and so like just like having a relationship with my mother and her just being there, like she's not always telling me what I want to hear and things like that, but it's just her being there and not leaving me when I was in my dark times or when I was having to make phone calls or when I needed this or needed that, and she just stayed right beside me. And she still continued, and I'm 22, and it's just a relationship that I can't really, I can't find nowhere else. I can't get nowhere else, to be real. And I just want to thank God that I got my mother with me when we was going through Durham. Yeah,
Durham.
when we was going to
I
get
don't even want him to drive through Durham no more. I'm like, I need you to go the long way round. Don't even
yeah.
go through Durham no more.
So when we was going through Durham, man, and then it's just the whole like pattern. Sometimes I feel like the life that you could live, it could be on a pattern, a circle, and so you want to know like what can I do different, what was I doing back then that I wasn't who was closer with me then before all this had started happening, before all the chaos and all the destruct, and so it made me dawn on my mind like my mama, like my mama was there when I was down, when I had my IEP. I didn't think I was gonna graduate. I was taking slow classes, man. It was serious in high school. And then when I got to my senior year, and then they was like, oh no, you can get your IEP off. And so I was just like, dog, man. But my mom was there. My mom was in the meetings. My mom was she was on the phone call with Miss Renee at the Dud, and so it really helped me. Duh, that's Dudley. Yeah. That's Panther Pride. But and so that's just, and I'm glad that God gave me a relationship stronger with my mother than it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and so that's real.
The other day, you and I we were talking, and you was looking for advice. You were just talking. I don't know if you was looking for advice, but I'm always advice ready.
Yeah.
I always got advice, in my pocket. I'm always ready. And I was like, well, as your pastor, and you was like, talk about that.
So like my mother is my mom, and so with that, like sometimes she'll be my father too. Sometimes she'll be, she is my pastor. You know what I'm saying? So she'll try to guide me on the right way with my salvation. And so at the time, I was just we was having advice about like I needed some advice about life. Because I'm getting older, and the growing process. It's so much. Like I don't know if I want to spread my wings and break the wall, or if I want to, keep them humble. So I tried to ask my mama just to, help me. And so she had came to me, and she was like, "Well, Maxwell, as your pastor, as the person that's over." And I was just like, no. I didn't want that advice at the time because I wanted my mom. And so I feel like sometimes, like, when you playing more than one role, you'll forget to take off your cape from your last job, you feel me? So, and at the time, I really wanted my mom to, because, like, my mama, she my pastor, but if she talking to me from a pastor point of view, my heart ain't going to feel it because it's not, like, that's not my mama. She giving me the word. She Bible thumping me. And that's not, that ain't what I need at the time. So I was just like, nah, mama, yeah, she get the Bible thumping me, man. So it's just like, I ain't want that at the time.
So,
Yeah, man, I ain't want that at the time, man. I ain't want that.
and it was so funny because when he was like, nah, mom, nah, I was like, ooh. I was like,
yeah, she was like, okay. Yeah.
And so it made me realize as a mother that sometimes we have to realize, like, I love how you said, like, I play different roles. But even as mothers, we have to realize that our kids don't all the time need the type of guidance that we would give biblically. We know what the words say. Most of us know what the words say. And then sometimes they don't even need to hear what your mama told you. Sometimes they need to hear you, yourself. And so, Maxwell, am I transparent with you? Like, do I give you too much information sometimes?
Nah, you keep it real. That's all you want. That's all I want. She let me know.
Yeah, and so it was important to me today that me and him had this conversation because I feel like sometimes as mothers, as our kids get older, we have a tendency to feel like they don't need and then sometimes kids feel like they don't need your mama's advice, Yeah. And so sometimes Maxwell has rejected my advice. He's rejected, not listening to me. And I had to learn not to take it personally, and I had to learn how to be like, okay, he got his own path that he has to take. And so, and I used to always talk about, every man got his own path, and that thing threw me off when he started making his own path. It did throw me off for a minute, because I still wanted to guide that. I still wanted to wield that. And so, but I realized I couldn't do that. So, Maxwell, if you was going to tell the kids here, whether they're young or old, what's important, like how important is it for them to keep that line of communication open with their parent, with their mother?
The relationship or bond or communication.
And like me and you, we done hit our rough patch too.
Oh yeah.
Like when I would call him, and like I would be, and the Holy Spirit convicted me about this. I was on the phone with him.
She used to get on the phone, and she'll call me in the morning time or late at night, and she just, man, she ain't Bible thumping. She just thumping about my problems, about my life. About what are you gonna do? What's your next step? You sitting there. I'm like, okay, mama.
No, one time I called, I was like, you trying to play me to my face?
Yeah,
you trying to play me to
you
my
lying
face?
to me in my face, man? And I was just like, oh.
And it was so funny because the Lord let me hear myself outside of myself fussing at my son. And so the Lord let me know he's not receiving anything you saying because of the posture that you have. And so sometimes I know as mothers, we want them to get it, but we also have to be mindful. The Bible tells us not to provoke our children to anger. And so that lets us know that there's something inside of us as a mother that we can thump our kids to anger. And the Bible tells us not to do that. So the Lord actually took me out of myself so I could hear myself fussing at my boy. And he was rejecting. When I tell you, this boy was like this, and I was like this too. We was like, and this how I was on the phone. And then tell me about that time you hung up on me in Walmart. You was like, Mom, the first of all, you never did this for. You was like, Mom, about to go. I'm about to go. Mom, I'm about to go. I was like,
because my mama, she had called me, and so like sometimes when you be on your own state of mind in your own head, like you don't really want to people advice, and then like the helpness and the things that they try to tell you and get you to in your head, you don't really reciprocate it. So you try to, my mama told me this, it's called landing the plane down easy. So with that being said, me and my mom, we was on the phone, and so I was like, man, I really ain't trying to, I'm not trying to. But I was like, Mama, I love you. And I was like, I love you. But Mama, I'm about to go. I was like, Mom, we've been talking about this, Mama, and like I couldn't take it. The enemy couldn't take it, not the conversation at the time. But as I got older, like, and not as I got older, like maybe like that next week, we had talked, we had sat down, or we had dinner, and so I was like, okay, I can take it now. But last week when I was walking around in Walmart, I couldn't, so I tried to lay the plane down easy, and Mama, I love you, but I'm about to go, Mama, I'm about to go. I kept on repeating it. But
he just hang up. He in the call. He was like, okay, Mom, go on, Mom. I got to go, Mama. Mama, I love you. I got to go. I was like, whoa. And he actually disconnected the call. But then the Lord showed me how I was in the wrong. And sometimes as mothers, we have to realize that sometimes we be in the wrong. And we can't always be like I used to tell Maxwell, I got the scar to prove you mine. You know what I'm saying? But as they get older and as you start really cultivating a relationship with them, sometimes we have to step back and say, I was wrong. So I had to call him, and you remember I called you, and I was like, Maxwell, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Because what was happening was the enemy, because of everything we had been through in the last year or so.
Yeah, it was rocky.
It was rocky between academic, school, God knows everything. And the da.
Yeah, it was just.
I mean, I was like, I am wore out now. It was to the point now, even when his dad called me, Travis called, I'd be scared to answer the phone. God just be looking at the phone like, what done happened now? What done happened now?
You gonna tell us something? You gonna tell where I'm at? You gonna tell where I'm at? Like,
he gonna be like, I need you to get $1,000. I need you to find $5,000. I'm like, oh my God. But the Lord showed me the car situation.
Oh my goodness, man,
I mean the car situation. And I was just like, Maxwell, what is happening? And I think I sped off from the scene. Like I was like, I'm done.
Pay for it, Mama. I was like, I can pay for it.
Yeah, and he was like, Mom, I got the money. So he pulled out the money. This when he got my car impounded. When he told me the car got impounded, like I thought he parked somewhere illegally. So I'm like, well, what parking lot were you at? Where were you? Were you on campus? Where were you? And he was like, "No, the cops got behind me. I got in a scuffle with the cop." I'm like,
Yeah,
"What
man,
the
that was a rough patch
what?"
right there, man. We had to come on through that.
I was like, "Oh my God!" And so, but what happened was because it was so much piling up, the Lord showed me how the enemy was trying to have me gather hatred in my heart
Yeah.
towards my son. And so, as mothers, we got to make sure that we don't start to hate our children because they're gonna put us through some stuff, and we're gonna be sitting there looking at them like, "What in the world is going on?" But we have to make sure that we don't start to posture our heart towards hatred towards our kids. So I had to call and apologize. And how did it make you feel when I was like, Maxwell, I'm sorry?
I just knew that like we was gonna start growing again. It was like when she had called me apologize, and then I apologized to her as well because I was doing things, and so I was just like I knew that was like just dropping seeds, and you know what I'm saying, with seeds like you don't see them the next day or the next week, but like now our relationship is closer than what it was like with the 2 years ago when we was going through that stuff and just trying to survive through it, and now we growing through it. To me.
All right, so I'm gonna give you the last word. Give you the last word. So just encourage, children to keep a relationship with their mothers, no matter how bad it gets, because you're gonna hit rough patches,
Yeah.
and y'all not gonna understand each other sometime. Sometimes I look at Maxwell baby pictures, I be like, where that baby at? And he be like, he gone. I'm like, no kidding. Like, so we not gonna always get along, but the line of communication is everything.
Yeah. Communication, bond, and talking. Like you really gotta talk. Like I know that some days it won't. Me and my mom, we don't talk. We don't talk for an hour every day. But I know that we can get on the phone and get ghosts. We get gone. We be talking for some hours. But like even when we talk like for 15 seconds. Oh hey mom, what you doing? Oh I'm at work. Oh okay mom, how work going? It's going good. Where you at? I just got off. And, it's the little conversation that lead to a bigger conversation. So now it's okay, mama. What time you get on? Like let's try to meet. Let's try to talk. And then when we are on the phone, it roll over. But the communication is definitely it plays a role. And I know that sometimes like when you were a kid or when you growing up, you feel like you kind of like when you and your mom ain't got that relationship no more. Like oh we was here, now we ain't here. Now it's like oh it kind of make me tougher now. You know what I'm saying? Like like my mama she here, but she not here. But when you come back with her and you talking with her and you sitting with her over dinner, over the phone, you be like, dog, man, I missed this conversation. Like one time I was this is when I talked to Auntie Raven about it. But when we was going up against Durham, and so I was talking on the phone with my mama, and so I had called because I had to call when I was in Durham. I had to make a phone call, but it was like time limited. Like it was like a minute call. And so, like, once I got everything, once we got through that, and I was like, dog, man, like, talking to my mama for only a minute, and, like, how we normally could get on the phone and we get gone and talk for hours and 15 minutes, I was like, man, I don't want to lose that. So that's what also fueled me to, like, have a relationship strong with my mom. And even when I was upset with her, I still try to, communicate with her. So it's very important because that's the love in the relationship, and the relationship is the love.
All right. Thank you, Maxwell.